Is the world running out of silver? Here's an article which just came out yesterday. The headline is, Industrial Demand Might Consume the Entire Silver Market by 2025. That's next year. And if this is true, this is absolute insanity. I'm going to break it down, though. Let's get into it. Buy your gold and silver online from SD Bullion. New customers get gold or silver at spot by visiting sdbullion.com/new. Thank you so much for watching. I do sincerely appreciate it. Here's an article which honestly has some truth in it, and I'm going to talk about what parts are true, but there are other parts that I disagree with. And if we do run out of silver by next year, I think the price of silver would explode to numbers we never thought possible, and not because of hyperinflation, but because the world needs silver and they simply can't get it. The price would go up for demand. It's not like we would see gas go up to thousands of dollars a gallon and a loaf of bread costing hundreds and hundreds of dollars because the dollar is just getting hyperinflated away and everything is going up. It wouldn't be like that. It would be like the cost of everything else remains relatively the same. Obviously, inflation is still going on and things are getting more expensive, but maybe gas would go up to $5 or $6 a gallon, but silver could go to hundreds of dollars an ounce. And I'm saying you could sell it for a huge profit, and we would probably see the gold-silver ratio get way narrow, and you could sell a few ounces of silver for an ounce of gold. I mean, seriously, if we run out of silver, this could be absolute insanity, but I don't think it's going to happen, and I will point out why as we go through this article. So the headline, once again, industrial demand might consume the entire silver market by 2025. Experts warn that surging industrial and military demand for silver could deplete inventories by 2025, driving price volatility and supply chain strains. In a stark projection, industry experts warn that silver inventories are on the brink of depletion by 2025. Driven by surging industrial demand, this development could have far-reaching implications for markets, investors, and industries reliant on the precious metal. So they are saying industry experts, and I'll point out which ones when we get to the end of the article. So they're talking about rising industrial demand. What's going to actually deplete the silver? And there's a few things on here which I disagree with. Now, the first thing they point out is technological advancements. And honestly, I don't know that this would be depleting silver by next year. I mean, the projections that I've seen, it's going to take another 25 years to deplete the silver with things such as solar panels, which is one of the main things they point out here. But then they go into solar panels specifically, solar power surge. And this to me is ridiculous that they would be making so many solar panels that next year we would actually run out of silver. I mean, demand is nowhere near that level. They would need to 10x the amount of solar panels that are getting created right now in order to deplete all of the silver. And the amount of silver that's available is widely disputed. I did a few videos on this last week. Is there 1.2 billion ounces of silver out there, which is the amount of silver estimated to be in the 4 big vaults, the vault in Shanghai, London, New York, and Chicago. So are we talking about that amount of silver or all of the silver that's above ground? Because other estimates I've seen are that stackers are holding up to 4 billion ounces of silver, just us. So it's going to take a lot longer to run out of silver if stackers are selling it back to make a profit as the price continues to go up. So there's a lot of silver out there, potentially a lot more than they are accounting for in this article here. And then the other thing they say is electric vehicles or EVs. And this is in no way going to deplete all of the silver by next year. This, again, would take several decades to do something like that. So far, I'm not seeing in any way that we would run out of silver. But then we get into something which may actually cause us to run out of silver. And I've talked about this in previous videos, but they say military use as a key factor. So defense technology. The military's demand for silver is another significant contributor to the depletion of inventories. Silver's use in advanced defense systems, including weaponry, communication devices, and surveillance equipment, is crucial due to its superior electrical conductivity and resistance to corrosion. So when they're building different weapons, they use silver. We know that they use silver because basically all of industry has to use silver for the wires and the conductors because it's so good at conducting electricity, electrical conductivity. So we know they're using some silver for these parts, but there is an ongoing debate as to how much silver is being used in something like a Tomahawk missile, and if the military is going to be rapidly increasing production for ongoing wars or even new wars starting in the near future, then we could see the military actually deplete a big amount of silver. So for something like a missile, they're probably not using the silver just for wiring. They're using it for some other purpose because silver is very conductive when it comes to heat, obviously. Here's a video of me pouring some silver. It was about 2,000 degrees hot. This is on my backup channel. I think this video came out a couple of weeks ago. But then when I put it in the water, it cools down very rapidly, and then I can hold it in my hand. So silver heats up and cools down at a very, very rapid pace. So for something like a missile, which needs heat to move quickly, maybe silver is used in some other way. Maybe on impact, it triggers something or moves the heat faster from one point to another point. So we don't know how much silver is being used in these missiles, and we probably will never know because it's all confidential. They're not going to tell us how they build them, right? So there's an ongoing debate as to how much silver the military will be using in coming years. And this kind of is the wild card, in my opinion. This is the only thing in this article which I see which possibly could use up all of the silver by next year because we simply don't know. Although, if I'm being honest, I don't think it will, and I don't think they use as much silver as people are predicting. So I don't think this is going to be a factor, but it is potentially a factor. And then they go into aerospace applications. And again, this is something that's going to take many, many years to use up a good amount of silver, especially if wars are getting worse. It's not like they're going to be, sending more rockets to the moon or Mars if we're really, truly needing all of these metals for defense, for example. And then they go into mining challenges. And this is something that I will push back on. I actually think they're wrong with what they say here. So compounding the issue is the declining output from silver mines. Existing mines are producing less silver, and there are few significant new discoveries to replenish the depleting inventories. This, to me, is kind of deceptive. Let's say existing silver mines are producing less silver. Well, that doesn't really matter because most of the silver that comes out of the ground is not coming from silver mines. Silver mines are not putting out the majority of the silver that we're getting. It's other mining. It's mining for nickel or copper or gold. These other mines are producing more silver than all of the silver mines. So even if the silver mines become completely depleted and put out zero silver, it doesn't matter. There still will be a constant stream of silver coming in from all of these other mines. So to me, this is not really a big deal, and it's kind of deceptive. They go on to say the exploration of new silver deposits is becoming increasingly difficult and costly. As high-quality ores become scarcer, mining companies face challenges in maintaining production levels. Yeah, again, it doesn't really matter if they find these massive new silver deposits. And by the way, the existing silver deposits that are out there, with better technology coming out every single year, they're able to mine deeper than they ever were before. And I'll bet in 20 years from now, they're going to be able to mine even deeper than they can now. So even if there's silver that's under the ground that they can't get to yet, I think they will be able to get to in the future with advancements in technology. So to me, the mining challenges are really not big challenges, especially if the price of silver does skyrocket. It's going to become much more cost effective to mine silver than other metals, and I'll bet there'll be a lot more people out there looking for silver, or at least going for the silver that's harder to get, because they'll be able to make a profit on it with the higher prices. So they do get into some market implications, and I want to talk about price volatility. So they write, as industrial use devours silver inventories, market analysts predict heightened price volatility. The scarcity of silver could lead to sharp price increases, affecting everything from jewelry to electronic goods. Obviously, bullion as well, we would see the price go up. But this is the thing here, price volatility. Price volatility could be the price going up or down, and I'm always predicting volatility for silver, especially when we compare it to something like gold. So I think if you're wanting to stack physical precious metals and you're nearing retirement, you're later in your years, I'm not saying anyone's old, right? You could be 60, 70, 80. You're not old. Old is 10 years older than whatever you are. So if you're 10 years old, then 20 is old. If you're 80, then 90 is old. So I'm not saying you're old, but if you're nearing retirement, maybe you don't want the volatility that comes with silver. Maybe you're going to be living off of your stack, actually selling it and using it for your retirement. If you are later on in your years, I think gold is a better thing to be stacking. That being said, if you're younger, if you're not looking at retiring yet, then you can stomach the volatility, and silver probably is better because on the upswings, you could really take profits, move that money into gold, and on the downswings, just buy more silver. So whenever we talk about volatility, this is something I feel like I need to bring up. And they do get into investment opportunities. Yeah, obviously, if you buy silver and the price goes up, that's a good thing for investment. Supply chain strain, I don't think this is going to be a big factor. So they write, industries heavily reliant on silver are preparing for potential supply chain disruptions. Companies are exploring alternative materials and investing in recycling technologies to mitigate the impact of silver shortages. This may be true, and we have seen some supply chain issues after COVID kicked off. Some of you might remember that silver Libertads had a very low premium. They were about the same as silver Eagles, but then after COVID, the mintages were decreasing very, very rapidly on silver Libertads, and now they have one of the higher premiums. They still haven't recovered. The silver Eagles, we saw the premiums shoot up on those. Obviously, the U.S. Mint was having trouble getting the blanks, the planchets, to make more Eagles. I did a lot of videos on that a number of years back when that was going on. But they've recovered, and now the premiums on Eagles are coming down quite a bit. They're almost back to normal. So will we see supply chain disruptions for all of silver? I don't think so, but maybe some bullion products. I definitely could see that happening again in the future. So they get to the expert insights, and these are kind of the people calling for, the world running out of silver. And the first one here, Johannes Bernreuter, head of Bernreuter Research. So they say the rapid pace of technological advancements and the global push for renewable energy are driving unprecedented demand for silver. If current trends continue, we could face significant inventory shortfalls by 2025. So they're actually not calling for the world to run out of silver. As the headline suggested, they're just saying that we're going to see some inventory shortfalls. And honestly, this could be the amount of silver decreasing by 10% or 20%. So I think this is a little bit misleading. And then the other expert, Michael, who is the executive director of the Silver Institute, says industrial demand for silver has been on a relentless rise. The industry must address the impending supply crunch through innovative solutions and sustainable practices. So it's kind of a generic quote there. He's not really saying we're going to run out of silver. He's just saying demand has been on a relentless rise. So are we going to run out of silver by the year 2025? I don't think we are. And I don't think you should stack silver for that reason. I don't think you should be buying silver because you think the price is going to skyrocket in 1 or 2 years because there's no more silver. I think you should stack silver as a hedge against inflation, as savings, as insurance, for barter. I mean, there's many reasons to stack silver, but the world running out of silver to me is not one of those reasons. So based on my analysis, industrial demand is not going to consume the entire silver market by next year. I think there's just no way that could happen. Obviously, the military use is a wild card, and we don't really know what's going on there. So there is a small potential, but putting that aside, I just don't see it happening. But I am curious what all of you think about this article. Is there any truth here? Let me know your opinions down below in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one. Silver Dragons out.